Hi folks, Ricky Tang here. You find me today thanks to the lovely folks at Fraser's of Gloucester on a 2021 Suzuki GSX-S1000. And yeah, I've been itching to ride this model to see how it compares to the previous generation. I've ridden the naked one and the fared model, got reviews on my channel. The first thing I'm enjoying about this bike is the up and down quick shifter, or quick shifter and auto blipper. On the way up, it's not the smoothest quick shift on the way up. There's a fair bit of interruption in the power there as it changes, but it's by no means bad. I've been on worse. In fact, my BMW R1250 is worse than this on the upshift. Downshifting is lovely with the auto blipper. So I think the front end on this machine has split opinion. I'm on the side of liking it. I'm quite happy with the front end. Just hope the light's good at night. I won't get a chance to find that out today. Overall, it does seem like the bike has kind of been influenced by KTM's, the way the kind of front half of the bike's styled, but that's no bad thing really. I won't hold it against the bike. Now straight off the bat, the handling feels very neutral, very easy to throw it from side to side, and the riding position is actually not aggressive, I'd say. I'm not quite upright, but there's really no weight to speak of on my wrists at all. Certainly a bit less aggressive than my second generation BMW S1000R, which I think this compares quite well with. Just toying around with the throttle response here, because that was one of the main kind of downsides, one of the main bugbears with the previous generation. It was quite snatchy on and off the throttle. And this is a marked improvement. Now, where am I on the throttle response map? I think I'm in mode B. Let's see if we can change it to mode C. Oh, mode C is much more subdued. Let's see if A goes the opposite way. Oh! Oh wow! It'll take a bit of experimenting with. But I would say A mode obviously is the most sensitive. Wow! It really wants to fly forward. But I think it does manage to do that without feeling snatchy. It just feels very sensitive. I think that's good. I think that's very good actually. But if you're a bit lazy, you're a bit tired, I can see a bit of accidental whiskey throttle occurring. And you could accelerate a lot quicker than you were expecting to. Yes, I mentioned the riding position, not aggressive actually. Surprisingly, I thought it'd be a little bit more hardcore than this, but it's not. The leg angle is not extreme. Leg room seemed fine for my 32-inch inside leg. Now here I am going through a little urban area, Stonehouse, and I've got to say the damping is really impressive. That feels like a high quality suspension setup they got there, really smoothing out the little dips and bumps in the road. That, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. You know what these bits of roads are like, these dug up bits, and yeah, that damping is really impressive there. Can't tell you how sensitive that throttle is. But I'm in this A mode. If you roll it on smoothly, it's not jerky, but it does feel strong on that initial application of the throttle. I'm about to maybe demonstrate. Not that you can really tell through the camera, but still. But I'm not actually trying to ride like Sylvain Gintoli at this point, so I'll switch it back to B. So I reckon overall they have fixed the jerky throttle response. Otherwise, controls are typical, I think, recent Suzuki. Not many buttons, so not much to get too confused about, despite the fact that this bike has got multi-level traction control, got the rider modes. You got a quick shift on and off option to the best of my knowledge as well. It picks up quick. Does remind me a lot of my BMW S1000, although on that bike the upshift was definitely smoother. But if you do want to use the clutch, it's not too difficult to pull. I wouldn't class it as light. I can't call it a light clutch, but I don't think it's heavy enough to cause a lot of discomfort if you're doing stop-start stuff. So the clocks, unfortunately, the clocks are a little bit hard to look at. I don't think my camera on my helmet is going to catch them unless I actively look down into the clocks. So we've got this reverse LCD, which is pretty similar to other recent Suzukis, but it's not the brightest or clearest of displays. It's quite information heavy. So mode, switch it into traction control, so you can go, yeah, all through those. If I press mode to get out of the traction control settings, then I can go for the trick computer settings. Nice healthy amount of voltage going into that battery. This clutch has got the I can't remember, clutch assist, I think. As I start to let it go, the revs rise automatically to try and stop you stalling. Just notice that because I let the clutch out a little bit. I wasn't moving forward, but the revs were going up. I gotta tell you here, throttle response from very slow speeds, yeah, they've sorted it. Having said all that, heaping praise on the throttle response there. Yeah, about 5,000 RPM if I'm going on and off the throttle. I've really got to measure it in slowly or carefully to stop it coming in with a bit of a thud or with a bit of a thump. Yeah, if you're a bit ham-fisted with the throttle, coming on and off the throttle further up the rev range, you could call it jerky, but it's not really. I don't think. It's just, again, sensitive. That last bit about coming on and off the throttle, I'm feeling potentially jerky, was happening in B mode on the throttle. Here we are then, the GSX-S1000. So yeah, the front end is a bit divisive on the old styling front. I won't call it beautiful, but I won't call it minging either. It looks decent enough for me, and if the light's on, looks a bit meaner. Let's get the lights on. Hold on, where are we? Where's the switch? Yeah, I think if that was coming up behind you on the streets with that headlight and the fluoro pseudo wings, that'll make you look twice, wouldn't it, in the mirror? I don't think it's too bad looking bike. I do wish there was something extra up here, some sort of screen you can probably get as an accessory up here to smooth off this top bit, but otherwise not so bad. The engine, as I think everybody knows and their mother knows, derived from the K5 GSX-S1000 for this year, or for this model, the refresh model. Certainly done a lot of work in the head of the bike to improve torque and improve horsepower. A bit more horsepower at higher revs. I think 152 horsepower now, something like 11,000 RPM. Can't quite remember the torque, but I'll put some spec on the screen there for you. But yeah, what I'm finding is it pulls really well. It's got a great low down torque. I haven't explored the top end of the rev range yet. Might do a little bit of that shortly. But low and mid range feels strong. Pretty much every bit as strong as my BMW. In fact, maybe stronger in the mid range than my BMW was. Now my BMW had maybe 15 more horsepower at the top end, I think, going by official specs. This is my S1000 not used to own, so it might not catch it there, but at normal speeds or slightly elevated speeds, I think there's probably be a match for it in the engine department. Older generation Brembos on the front, but monoblock Brembos, conventional reservoir and piston. We're not talking radial here, but the stopping power is great so far. Got no complaints about how it slows down. What tyres are we wearing today? We are wearing Dunlop Sport Max Road Sport, 190/50 on the back, R17, ZR17. I'm presuming that'll be a 120/70 on the front. Indeed it is. What I noticed here is how beefy the subframe is. I don't know, it's only a small thing, but I really like that look on this bike. That looks really industrial, futuristic, Mad Max style, even though it's only a little element of the bike. Right, we've had a bit of a wander around now. Let's get back on the road. So let's see what the quick shift is like at more sedate speeds, doing just over 30 miles an hour in fourth gear, sorry. Will it go up? Oh, nice. Yeah, didn't seem to fight me at all. Felt a bit mechanical going through, not totally smooth, but I think it was quite happy. Wow, this got, where was I? I was in fourth gear there. When you start accelerating, it certainly helps to lean into it rather than try and hold on to the bars. Get yourself length forward. Oh, this does feel good. This feels like a very strong engine for a 4-cylinder 1000. Just as you start to get into the upper ranges, it's pulling hard. Okay, getting a little bit unsettled by undulations in the road there. At these higher speeds, it's feeling somewhat fidgety. Again, suspension is fully adjustable, and I can't tell you what settings I'm currently running, but where the bike felt kind of plush at slow speeds, feels a little bit fidgety up here. So here's one downside: no cruise control, in addition to no lean sensitive traction or ABS. So yeah, I know, I'm all for bikes at different price points with different abilities, but come on, cruise control. I know we don't really need it, bikes never used to have it, but when you're used to it, it's a very nice thing to have. The last couple of bikes I had, I could, you know, put cruise control on at 30 or 27 or 28 and just bimble through a slow section without having to keep an eye on the speed. That's nice. If you find yourself coming to a stop on this bike and the bike's holding on to the revs a bit, it's because, again, this I think clutch assist or pull away assist option on the Suzuki. The thing is, I'm holding onto the clutch with 3 fingers and my little finger's still on the bar. and that's not quite far enough for the lever to drop the revs. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating there. I mean, the clutch is in, we're not dragging the clutch, but yeah, the revs are just kind of hanging on there because of the lever position. Let's get into 6th. Wow, 6th gear. It's 2000 RPM apparently. this is what I really do like about 4-cylinder bikes, especially the ones with the bigger engines. Just so tractable. No complaints about putting low revs. I can get my feet, both feet, firmly flat-footed down on the ground with my 32-inch inside leg. No bother at all. Feels like actually quite a low seat because there's a reasonable bend in my legs as well as I'm standing here. Even 30s or maybe even 29s, maybe even 28s. You better get your toes down alright. By the way, lovely sound from the airbox or induction noise. Certainly louder than what's coming out the back of the bike, I think. Brakes solid. GSX-R. That has got the heart of a GSX-R. That pulls hard at the top end. That was eye-opening. Classic inline 4-cylinder performance bike stuff, but it's been a while since I've sampled it, and yeah, it was bloody good. Oh, hello. I am hanging around here like a bad smell in 3rd gear. Just waiting for the opportunity to twist the throttle. And the mid-range is bloody good. I mean, I'm at a low gear as well, but yeah, it's got a lot of performance around about 6,000–7,000 RPM. That was, where was I? 4,000 RPM. I got a little crossed up air time there in 2nd gear. No doubt it feels a bit fidgety at these speeds. It doesn't feel settled like a good electronic suspension might. So yeah, it does feel a bit busier, a bit harder work to do speeds. But there's no doubt the engine's got the mumbo for it. So much top end poke. For me, yes, it's strong at the bottom, strong at the mid-range. But I prefer the way my flat twin responds to a big throttle input, the way it leaps forward. This pulls forward strongly, but then it's kind of slightly muted in that the way the 4-cylinder engine works. For instance, if this was a 1300cc 4-cylinder bike, it would probably leap forward on the throttle just like my 1250 flat twin. But it's not, it's a 1000cc 4-cylinder bike, and it kind of pulls strongly and accelerates well, but it's just not immediate grab you by the nuts sort of thing. It's still good, don't get me wrong. If this particular, if this specific model was available when I was shopping for my S1000R, then this would have given me serious second thoughts. But it wasn't this model that was available back then, it was the previous gen, and the previous gen I wasn't really that interested in. Good solid bike, but that snatchy throttle was a big problem back then. So this is an excellent fast road bike, with the promise to be even better if you can play around with the suspension and make it better at higher speeds. Right, I think I need to stop being an idiot now and take the bike back to base. Yeah, I have ridden recently the Aprilia Tuono 1100 factory. Now that will punch you in the face if you look at it funny. I've ridden the latest generation S1000R, which is much more refined, even though it's still ballistic at the top end. So this isn't quite at that level, as we all know. It's kind of a level below. It's a great machine for those people who don't need or want one of those ridiculously fast hypernakeds. I think this is a very solid bike, and I would certainly be happy to take her out on a second date. Bot is getting a little bit achy now at after about 2 hours on the bike. Not much vibration to speak of, which is good. However, my couple of fingers on my right hand are going a little bit tingly, but I haven't really noticed anything offensive in terms of the vibration. So, in summary, I've had a riot on this bike. I've had a really good time. And if it comes to the point where I'm looking for another 4-cylinder bike, 1000cc sporty bike, this would definitely be in the mix. Well, I hope you enjoyed coming out with me on this little test ride. If you like what I've done here, please press like on the old video. Do hit that subscribe button. I very much appreciate it. I've got rookie numbers at the moment. I'm really going to pump those numbers up. So press subscribe and I'll see you in another video. Ta-da!